It's that time once again. Welcome everybody here to y.W.c Predictions. And we are
It's
getting
not
set.
that time.
It isn't that time? Huh. Well, okay. Goodbye
Nope.
everybody. Sorry for wasting your time. This video is over. Um, but we're getting ready for the pay-per-view of tables, ladders, and chairs. Now we do have two matches that I
And
should mention.
shares.
They do. Tables, ladders, and stairs. And chairs. And old gray mares. Anyway.
Casey Beers.
Yes. Wait, what? Did you just call Casey Mears an old gray mare? I'm gonna kick you. I'm gonna hit you with a chair, and then I'm going to pin you on a ladder, and then I'm going to
Oh,
push
there
the
we
ladder
go.
through a table.
Shot Cole versus Kevin Shearer.
It's happening.
Ouch.
Okay, anyway.
WrestleMania pre-show.
So as I said, TLC is the next pay-per-view. There are two matchups that have a question mark on them, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let me first introduce the people that are going to be giving you their verbal picks. First off, we've got Michael Norman.
Hello.
Secondly, we have Chris Dollerton.
Hello.
And finally, we have the Sultan of Salt, Kev Shear.
Bang! Yo, it's me. It's
No,
me. It's
stop.
KEV.
Shut up.
Every time he
you-
does that, I question whether I want to
User
live
was
on this
moved out of
planet
your
or not.
channel. User joined your channel.
Heck off.
Well, Kev is an honorary Brazilian. Anyway, so we do have some people that have also given their
Alright.
picks ahead of time as well. Dillon Young, Preston Plourd, and Tim Fiegel.
Tim
What?
Fiegel.
As Michael's brain just apparently crackled into a million pieces, courtesy of an electric shock, according to what I just heard through his microphone. Anyway,
No, I was crumpling up a Wendy's bag. I'm eating my
sponsor. Um,
Their new sandwich is actually be good.
please
I think.
sponsor this channel, Wendy's. We gave you a shout out. Let's get right down to it then, I guess. Let's start first off with the match that's going to fit the criteria of chairs. It's a chairs match between Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton. It's the 619 versus the RKO. Michael, who we got?
dinner. This is a tough one because I expect the underdog to win, get his comeback and everything, but I think I'm going to go with Randy Orton. I
Okay.
think he's going to either He's going to either.
You
I
can't
can't really say
disqualify. It's
disqualification.
a
That's
no
right.
disqualification.
I still think Randy Orton for the swerve.
Okay. Chris.
You know, I haven't really been paying attention lately on SmackDown, so I'm gonna go with my gut. Randy.
Oh, okay. I got to retype Randy Orton. Then I just typed in your gut in your slot. But anyway, Kev.
Nobody
Yeah,
cares what you have to say.
Shut it, Mike. They haven't. WWE as a whole hasn't really done much of Rey Mysterio since he came back a few months ago. I'm just gonna go with Randy Orton because they've been making him out to be this kind of big threat in more ways than one. So, I'm gonna go with Randy.
All right. I'm going to also go with Randy Orton, just based off the fact that what I'm hearing is the future plans for Rey Mysterio is he's actually going to go into a feud with Shinsuke Nakamura for the U.S. Championship. So, yeah, I think to just kind of kill this rivalry, they're going to go with Orton, especially with the fact, too, that Rey Mysterio was able to hit a 619 on the last SmackDown. And usually when that happens, they're going to lose the pay-per-view matchup. For the people that gave their picks prior, Dillon, Preston, and Tim are all also going with Randy Orton. So right now it's Randy Orton all
So
the
we're
way.
all going with Randy Orton.
So far, everyone's going with Randy Orton. Yes, indeed. I'm also going to point out this too before we go to the next matchup. I did not have the time to be able to put together who's battling for what championships, so check down in the description of this video to see who is indeed battling for whichever championship this time. I think we do have a couple of people with bonus points into this as well. That'll also be information down in the video description. But moving on to the next match, the match that's going to have everyone gripped. Everybody is going to be tuning in for this matchup specifically, because guess what? The number 30 spot for the Men's Royal Rumble and the Women's Royal Rumble is on the line. It's R-Truth and Carmella versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. It's the finals of the Mixed Match Challenge, if I could
What
only say
happened with
words.
Miz and Asuka?
They got beat.
They lost.
They lost to R-Truth and Carmella.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were still in it because of that promo I saw.
Nope.
They lost.
Asuka beat up Miz, and Miz got pinned by R-Truth. But so it's what is the teams called? The Fabulous Truth versus Mahalisha.
Fabulous Truth.
Mahalisha.
All right, so yeah, whoever wins this matchup, everyone's really going to be excited for that number 30 buzzer when it happens in the Royal Rumble for sure. But anyway, Michael, who you got?
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to go with Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. It wouldn't be WWE's biggest troll for the number 30 spot than it would be for Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox.
All right, Chris.
I'm going to have to disagree on that. I judged both of these two by the pushes they've been getting lately. Mahal and Alicia Fox have not been in a push. Mahal has not seen a push since he was a WWE champion, or before that. And Alicia Fox, I wasn't even watching the last time she had a push. But R-Truth R-Truth has gotten a push a little bit, and Carmella jumped on his bandwagon, and you know what? I'm going to go with the Fabulous Truth winning that match.
Okay, Kev.
I'm gonna go with Fabulous Truth simply because I want to see R-Truth mistakenly come out number 30 in the Women's Royal Rumble.
That is a possibility. I've heard that. I've heard about that. Okay, I do have a question. Does anybody know who does the booking for Mixed Match Challenge? Is it Vince McMahon?
I don't think so.
I don't even know.
I don't remember who it was. I don't remember who it is, but it's definitely not Vince.
I gotta go with R-Truth and Carmella regardless because I think they're getting the push because I'm gonna go with R-Truth and Carmella because I think that they're getting a push because Vince McMahon likes the 5-minute dance break that they have and everything, and I don't know. So that's why I'm going with them.
5-minute dance break?
Yep.
And more like a 5-second dance break.
It's a 5-minute dance break. They speed it up.
Oh.
All right. For the people that gave their picks earlier, R-Truth and Carmella is the pick for Dillon Young and Tim Fiegel. However, Preston is agreeing with you, Michael. He thinks it's going to be Team Mahalisha. Moving on to the next matchup, and again, for the second straight pay-per-view, I have not been paying attention to 205 Live, so I'm not really certain what the whole storyline is for this, but it's Buddy Murphy defending the Cruiserweight Championship.
It'll be a toss-up.
Yeah, it's Buddy Murphy defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Cedric Alexander. Michael, who you got?
Buddy Murphy.
Okay. No explanation? No nothing? Just Buddy Murphy?
Well, I'm saying with you. I don't really watch 205 Live. I'm just picking.
Oh, okay. I got you. Makes sense. Chris?
I haven't seen the last couple of weeks, but you know what? Based off what I saw in Super Showdown, that being the best match of that night, I'm going to stick with Buddy because I think they're going to have something else planned for him for the Rumble.
Okay. Kev?
Buddy Murphy. Also worth noting, this is technically Cedric's rematch clause from losing it at Super Showdown, yeah.
And I'm also going to go with Buddy Murphy just because I haven't really seen a whole lot out there. Yeah, because Buddy Murphy, exactly. Before we move on to the next matchup here, I'm going to give the people that gave their picks, and then I just want to say, can we give a shout-out to Mustafa Ali? I know he's on 205 Live, but what a match he had against Daniel Bryan on SmackDown yesterday. That was awesome.
I think they said he moved out of 205 Live.
Oh, did he? I hope he gets a push on SmackDown then, because...
That's what I heard one of the commentators say.
Oh, I hope he gets a push.
Coming out of 205 Live and to face Daniel Bryan or whatever.
Because his match with Daniel Bryan was... one of the best matches of the night, in my opinion.
He's 206 now, I heard.
205 and a half.
I especially like the fact they're integrating more 205 Live talent on the main show.
Agreed.
Also with other examples being Leo Rush being Bobby Lashley's quote-unquote hype man. And the Lucha House Party against Revival.
Leo Rush had a good match with Elias, too.
But don't they still kind of wrestle on 205 Live, like Leo Rush and Drake Maverick?
Oh yeah, they still wrestle on 205 Live. They're just being more integrated into the regular shows as well.
I mean, all it means is Drake Maverick's just a heel general manager.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Drake Maverick. It's kind of weird seeing him be a heel as a manager of Officer Pain.
You know what, Drake? And this is going to be funny to say. You know what Drake Maverick reminds me of? At least on 205 Live. Remember when Paul Heyman used to run ECW back in the very early stages of the ECW's return before it got totally stupid? Remember when he used to have those two bodyguards with the helmets that we never knew who they were? That's what Drake Maverick reminds me of with the Authors of Pain.
Wait, Heyman had the bodyguards? I think that was Eric Bischoff that had the 2 bodyguards.
No, it was on ECW. I remember it was after Edge. I think it was after Edge screwed over Cena.
So after One Night Stand?
Yeah. Heyman used to come out with the bodyguards. Remember it was when Kurt Angle was working?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It was before Paul Heyman left the company.
Okay, anyway, before we get sidetracked, too late, the other people's picks were Buddy Murphy, for all 3 of them.
the other people's picks were Buddy Murphy. Okay.
I don't even have to say the specifics, it's just Buddy Murphy.
Yeet.
Alright, moving on to the next one. It's the match that's going to fit the latter part of the TLC pay-per-view criteria. Ladder match between Elias and Bobby Lashley, and if I recall correctly, they are retrieving a guitar at the top of the ladder.
Yes, they are.
That is correct.
Oh my! I did not hear about this.
So, with that being said, Michael, what you got?
Well, this is a tough one. You got to face Elias and a heel Bobby Lashley, but I feel like Leo Rush is going to get involved, so I might have to say Bobby Lashley.
Alrighty. Chris.
You know, Bobby Lashley's return 8 months ago, as long as he's been here, he hasn't done much. And I think that train's going to keep going for him up until close to the Rumble time, and then he might get a push. I don't know. But for Sunday night, I'm going with Elias.
Okay, Kev.
For tonight.
Bobby Lashley. I honestly don't care about this match.
Know what I was thinking? What if during this match Lars Sullivan makes his debut and attacks Bobby Lashley?
Oh dear God. Honestly, I think it'd be a waste of Lars Sullivan's debut.
Oh God, you know what I just thought? Oh my God. Speaking of debut, what if, okay, now hear me out. It's Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Braun Strowman, look, he surprises everybody by coming out there and actually going to be there and actually wrestle, and it looks like he's about to win the match, and then Lars Sullivan comes out as the backup plan for Baron Corbin.
Only thing is, I've been hearing that Lars Sullivan's not going to debut until either the Raw or SmackDown after TLC.
Aww. But it'd be a great fucking debut, though.
It would. I'm going to go with Elias for this matchup, based off the fact that it's a ladder match, and we had a ladder match between Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin on Raw, and you had, of course, Heath Slater getting involved as a referee and everything, having to obviously do what Baron Corbin wanted, and it proved that the face is able to overcome a 2-on-1 advantage in a ladder match. So I'm going to say that even though Leo Rush is going to be hovering around there somewhere, I think Elias is going to beat the odds, and he's going to win the match. The other people's picks, Dillon Young is going with Bobby Lashley. Preston and Tim, they are going to go with Elias. Next matchup, now this is one of the question mark ones, because as far as I'm aware, it's just an illness right now. So they're expecting him to be able to wrestle at TLC. Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Michael, who you got? Michael is dead.
Oh, sorry, say that again? I was watching something hilarious.
Who do you have between Finn Balor and Drew McIntyre?
Drew McIntyre. They're pushing Drew. They're pushing Drew, and we all know how WWE feels about Finn Balor for some reason right now, so I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre.
Okay, Chris.
I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre as well because I think this is going to be the start of his singles push away from Ziggler. So,
Kev.
McIntyre. Balor's essentially a glorified jobber at this point. Let's be honest.
I am also going with Drew McIntyre because I will state this right now. Drew McIntyre currently is the front runner for my Royal Rumble winner. So I I'm going to go with Drew as well, because I think this is the start of his push. Here's the interesting part. Everybody here verbally chose Drew McIntyre. Everybody that sent their picks in prior chose Finn Balor, so it's quite a split for this one. Next up, we've got the tables section of TLC, and boy, what an exciting matchup this is going to be. We've got the battle between Ruby Riott with her table with a big cardboard cutout of Jim the Anvil Neidhart against Natalya. What a great matchup this is going to be. Michael, who you got?
Ruby Riott, Natalya tables match. I'm unfortunately, as much as they're pushing it to where you think Natty's going to win because of the whole her dad's situation and the way that they've been making fun of him and stuff. But I feel like it's going to go to Ruby Riott.
Okay, Chris.
Last time that WWE did anything with the mocking of someone's death in a storyline was the run leading up to WrestleMania 29 between Taker and CM Punk with Paul Bearer. And we all know who won on that end. I'm going by that logic, and I'm going to say Natalya wins.
All right, Kev.
I think this is actually Ruby Riott's first singles pay-per-view match at a time in her WWE. So, I'm going to go with Natalya, though.
I'm going to go for... No, go ahead.
I'm going along the lines of Chris, with what Chris said.
I'm going to go with Ruby Riott. Just based on the fact you got a tables match, no disqualifications, you're going to have the Riott Squad there to be able to help. So, and as far as I'm aware, I have not really seen, outside of Ronda Rousey, who's going to have her own matchup that night, I haven't really seen anybody align themselves with Natalya in the last couple of weeks, so I don't think she's going to have any backup on her side to even the odds.
Alexa Bliss turns face.
Yeah, right. Okay, so for the three people that had their picks in early, they are all also going with Natty Neidhart. Next up, we've got...
Of course, Trent will go at Natty.
Of course.
Obviously.
Next up...
Even though he didn't make picks.
Next up, what I think is going to be one of the...
basically a given.
Will you shut up so I can get to the next matchup?
No, I won't.
Okay. Next up, we've got what I think is going to be one of the top three matchups of the evening. Even though we've kind of seen this before, still looking forward to it. It's a triple threat tag team match for the SmackDown tag team titles. The Bar versus the New Day versus the Usos. Michael, who you got?
Ironically enough, all of these participants are on up, down, down constantly, and they're always they get so well together. So this is going to definitely be a great match. I can tell you that much for sure. But this is a really big toss-up because you never know who's going to win. I personally think that it's going to be the Usos. I'm going to go with the Usos.
All right, Chris.
Kind of that swerve.
I was thinking about going with the Usos. Then something in me thought, you know what? I think they can milk out this rivalry a little while longer. I think the Bar's going to retain.
Oh, okay. Kev.
I agree with Michael, except for the fact that I don't think it's going to be a swerve. They've made the Usos look very strong in the past couple weeks. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Usos as well.
All right. For me, I agree with Michael that this is definitely a tough one because all three teams are deserving. Whoever wins the tag team titles, it's going to be a win-win-win, whoever ends up winning it. It's not going to be like this team shouldn't have the titles because they're not going to be able to do anything with them. All three have proved that they're really good as tag team champions, the way that they work. So I'm also going to go with the Usos just based on it looks like they've had a little bit more momentum on their side in terms of in-ring action. For the other people that gave their picks, Dillon and Preston, they're going with the Usos. And Tim agrees with you, Chris, that the Bar is going to retain. Next up, we have the other question mark. Well, actually, we had 3 question mark matches. I didn't even realize that. So we got a second question mark match. Charlotte Flair versus Asuka versus possibly Becky Lynch in a triple threat TLC match.
Possibly because she may not be cleared to wrestle.
As far as I'm aware, Becky Lynch has been able to be cleared in terms of concussion and broken nose and all that, but she is not cleared, last I knew, in terms of something to do with nasal. I'm not sure what the term was, but
Nasal cavity. Maybe?
nasal cavity. That's what it was. She wasn't cleared at that point. She did take some bumps on SmackDown, but it didn't have anything to do with up around the face region. And I also noticed when she got thrown over the table, she did her best to avoid hitting the chair with her face. So I think it's still pins and needles on whether or not she's going to be cleared. She says she's going to wrestle on Twitter, but it's a question mark regardless. Michael, who you got?
I'm gonna say I want to say Asuka so badly because just throwing that swerve, but I think it's gonna be Becky if she's able to wrestle. If Becky, okay, I guess that this is how it's gonna happen. The rumor, because we don't know for sure if she's gonna wrestle or not. If Becky Lynch wrestles, I say that Becky will retain. But if Becky Lynch doesn't wrestle, then I say Asuka.
Well, you got to make your pick based off of right now. You can't do that.
All right, then I choose.
I mean,
Becky.
you can change it prior to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, we're all gonna have to change it if Becky isn't cleared. So I'm gonna go with Becky then.
Chris.
I'm on the same ropes with him. If Becky wrestles, she wins. If she doesn't, it's Asuka. So, as of this moment, Becky.
Kev?
I say Asuka regardless.
I am also going with Asuka because I think that we're going to end up having a superstar shakeup at some point, and Becky Lynch is going to go over to Raw, and it will be Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey for the title at WrestleMania. So she's going to have to drop the title at some point.
I don't think we're gonna have a superstar shakeup until after WrestleMania.
Actually, hold on. I'm changing my mind. I'm not going with Asuka. I'm going with Charlotte.
Yeah, they better not give it. They better not give it back to Charlotte. She's already what? If she wins again, what is she be, a 7-time women's champion?
Possibly.
In a span of 4 years.
Here's the thing though. Every time I bet against Charlotte at a pay-per-view, Charlotte ends up winning. So I'm definitely gonna go with Charlotte since the pay-per-view. Andrew, I'm not sure if you're talking or not. I have you muted just because we're recording something, so I'll be up in just a minute.
Buddy left your channel.
Okay, next matchup we have is the Raw Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax. Do we even have to ask who people's picks are for this?
No.
Ronda Rousey.
Everybody on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Alexa
User
Black.
Kev
from
Shearer.
your channel.
I'm getting
User was
Ronda.
from your channel.
I hate all of you.
Ronda.
Okay, I'm
outright.
going with Kev Shearer.
I'm gonna win the women's title?
I'm
Yep.
going to write that down in the booking.
Send it to Dave Meltzer. This just in, Kev Shearer is going to win. Yeah, and no surprise, everybody that made their picks earlier went with Ronda Rousey as well. Because if you think about it, yeah, Nia Jax has Tamina at ringside, so if they end up getting disqualified, Ronda's going to be declared the winner there again. Anyway, so, you know.
Who were the others
Tamina
picked
is
for
the
the
most
triple threat?
useless X Factor I have ever seen.
Oh, for the triple threat, Dillon Young went with Becky Lynch, so did Tim, and Preston went with Asuka.
Alright.
Next up, we have the final question mark matchup, because more than likely he's not going to make it, but then again, you never know what WWE's going to do. Braun Strowman, is he going to be cleared to wrestle, is he not, versus Baron Corbin. It's a tables, ladders, and chairs match, and if Corbin wins, he becomes the permanent general manager of Monday Night Raw. Michael, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Braun Strowman if he's there. If not, Baron Corbin. But as of right now, I'm going with Braun Strowman.
Chris?
I'm going to go with Braun. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with this, but, I mean, I know it says here, if Braun wins, he gets a Universal title match at Rumble, and it's going to be against Brock. So, I'm going with Braun, and I think they're finally going to get that damn belt on him.
Okay. Kev?
Brown Snowman.
Yep, I am also going with Braun Strowman because along your lines, Chris, according to Vincent Kennedy McMahon, he's going to win the title from Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, and then he's going to drop it, I believe they said, to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. So, everybody else is also going with Braun Strowman that had their picks in earlier. Next, we go to what I think is maybe one of the toss-up matches here for this pay-per-view. It's the Intercontinental Championship matchup, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. Here's the question. Do they keep the belt on Rollins still, or do they relieve him of the title, give it to Dean Ambrose, and give Rollins the opportunity to be able to get into the Universal Championship picture? With that being said, Michael, who you got?
I'm going to go with Dean Ambrose. Heel Dean Ambrose, I think, is going to take it from Seth Rollins. And then Seth Rollins is going to spend the next couple of pay-per-views trying to get it back.
Okay, Chris.
I'm going to go a different route with this one, and I was thinking this in my head. I say Ambrose wins on Sunday because Rollins is going to win the Royal Rumble.
Ooh.
No, he's not.
That's what I'm
Michael,
thinking.
can you don't?
Rollins wins the Rumble, and that way faces Braun Strowman at WrestleMania for the title. Just think about it. A SmackDown superstar won the Men's Rumble last year. Think this one's gonna flip.
Here's the thing.
2017 it was also SmackDown.
Here's why I'm going with Drew McIntyre to win the Rumble, because according to what I've heard, it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
I'm going to stick with that right now. But in terms of Sunday, Ambrose.
Kev.
Okay, so then how the hell is Braun Strowman going to drop the title at WrestleMania then?
I didn't say he was going to drop the title at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did. He said Braun's going to drop the title at WrestleMania.
Oh.
To Seth Rollins. I was
Rollins.
piggybacking off of that and saying that. So Braun wins on Sunday. He gets the title match at Rumble. He beats Lesnar. Rollins wins the Royal Rumble, the Men's Royal Rumble match. They face each other at WrestleMania. Yeah, that's the storyline I'm going with, and I'm sticking to it. But Ambrose wins on Sunday. Move on.
Okay. Kev.
Rollins.
Just
because I don't really know what direction they're going with this.
I'm
haven't
also
really been
going to go with Rollins because I think, I don't know, I've been disappointed with the build-up to this matchup, to be perfectly honest, in terms of the storyline with Dean Ambrose. I think they need to do a little bit more to be able to make it more interesting for Ambrose to be able to win the title. So I'm going to go with Rollins to win. For the people that had their picks in beforehand, every single one of them going with the Lunatic Fringe. I can say that because he's not around me right now, and he hates when people say that, apparently. Anyway, finally we go on to our final matchup. It's the WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. In my opinion, going to be match of the night.
Daniel Bryan TM.
That's right, the new Daniel Bryan versus fickle AJ Styles. I think this is going to be match of the night. Michael, who you got?
I think it's gonna be Daniel Bryan.
All right, Chris.
Just Daniel. I doubt that they're gonna take the title away from Daniel this early.
I don't think they're going to have Bryan drop the title till WrestleMania, or maybe even after. I think they're finally going to start doing some flip-flopping with the world title, because AJ kept it for a very long time, over a year. So I think they're finally going to start doing some flip-flopping and get some other names mixed in there other than guys named AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan, and whoever else has had a title opportunity since Styles beat Mahal for it last year. So I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan. He'll win this time. AJ's going to fall back into the mid-card.
Okay. Kev.
I know damn well I'm in the minority on this, but I honestly don't really care for the new Daniel Bryan TM.
So you're going with AJ?
No, I'm not going with AJ. I'm still going with Daniel. It's just, I don't like his new character. I'm sorry. I have just not really been impressed.
Well, I am going to go with AJ Styles. Just based on the fact that Daniel Bryan, I think, is... I love this persona. I think he is completely gone full heel. And with that being said, I think he's going to get himself disqualified in some way in the matchup, and Styles is going to be named the winner of the match. Bryan will still have the title. He'll have the crazed look on his face going up the ramp. That's how TLC will sign off. But I think that... I agree with you, Chris, that Styles is going to fade back to the mid-card. I have heard, I'm trying to remember who it was that I heard that he's going to be in a feud with at some point on the mid-card area at some point, but I think they can do a little bit more with this. I think we could have another good matchup between Styles and Bryan, so I think that what we'll have is it'll be a disqualification tomorrow, or not tomorrow night, but Sunday night, and then Styles will have another opportunity further down the road at probably the next pay-per-view, and that'll be where the exclamation point is, where Bryan ends the feud once and for all. And for the other people that had their picks in, they are all going with Daniel Bryan. So that is going to do it here for our picks for that's our picks for TLC. You can check down in the description below for the people that hadn't had their picks in yet. I'll be updating the list and everything. And again, you can check as well in terms of who is battling for what championship. That is going to be down in the description as well. No idea what our next pay-per-view is going to be, but whatever it is,
It'll be the
Royal
Rumble.
Rumble.
It'll be the Rumble.
Is it the Rumble? Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
Yep.
Royal Rumble will be the next one. That'll certainly be a toss-up unless we end up getting spoilers of who wins each Royal Rumble, which could happen. But
I mean, well, it didn't happen last year. We all thought it was going to be like, we all thought we didn't know who it was going to be last year.
who won it last year?
Nakamura and Asuka.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
I think I had Nakamura for my pick.
You did, yes, but no
And I
one
got it on-
really knew that
Well,
he was going to win.
No, I got it off of a spoiler.
It made sense,
Well,
but anyway.
then you cheated, you
I didn't-
asshole.
I didn't cheat. I saw a spoiler. I can't help it
Seth is a cheater.
I can't help it
Seth
if
is a
Wrestle
cheat-
Talk reports spoilers. But anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. Tune into the Facebook group to see who ends up retaining, winning the championships, whatnot. And we will see you guys at the Royal Rumble. Till then, goodbye.
Where's the cane
Bye.
plan?